Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Hayya ala salat.
Islam Wars, please be seated. Arise, giving all praises to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. I extend the highest of honors to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. I extend high honors to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam. I extend high honors to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center. These 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam. Extending honors to the noble, to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This is a constant reminder that the European nations owe you the Moors with compound interest. Islam. This is also the flag of our birth. Islam Moors. Giving honors to the noble Sheikh staff and noble Vanguard staff who keep the peace, and giving honors to you, the Ills and Bays, for without you, there is no Moorish movement. Islam. I'd like to give honors to the babies in the room, Sister Jalila Nia, Ashe Bey, our youngest member, Islam. Give honors to my grandson, brother Amir Farrell Bey, Islam. Praise Allah, because when the baby's in the room, the future is present. Islam. Praise Allah. Tonight, my talk will be centered on, was inspired by a title of a book I wrote years ago entitled, Who is Allah to the Moors? Islam Moors? Before I get into that, I'd just like to say that the other night on BT, they aired a show called Cop Watch, okay? About a couple months ago, maybe about 3 months ago, we did a event here known as Clippers and Cops, right? We hosted this, they do it all around Atlanta, so on and so forth. Brother Jalil was there, who else was there? You weren't there, you were in New Jersey. Who else was there? Brother Akil, yes, the Sheikh staff were there. You know, what they did was they brought the BET film crew out and everything, and they filmed it and let us know at a later date it was gonna air. And it aired, right? And praise Allah, I just want to, you all to know that it was a very good look to see the Moorish Americans in the room. You know, when the camera panned around and you saw the fezzes and the turbans and hit Sister Ruth in the back, General Tariq, and so on and so forth, and and just seeing, the members of New Era Atlanta, the UNIA, Nation of Islam was present. All just demonstrating, something concerned for us community action goals. That was a beautiful thing. So praise Allah for that. My mother-in-law called me like 12:30 at night. I saw Styles of the Nile on TV. My mom called me the next day, like, I was what? Ain't your shop name Styles of the Nile? Yes, my mom's 76. You know what I'm saying? I was watching Tyler Perry's channel, and next time I saw Styles of the Nile, I thought I'd call you. Pray, yeah, that's my shop. Oh, you doing good work, man. God bless you. Praise Allah. Islam Moors. My mom sends y'all blessings. Islam Moors. I just want to extend that. All right. So praise Allah for that, Moors. Please continue your good, uplifting acts that you're doing in the community. Islam Moors. Praise Allah. Tonight I'd like to start at chapter 10 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam Moors. And let me open that up right. Pardon self. Pardon self. Grand Governor just out of order. All right.
You're gonna still keep me.
Take him back. You gonna still keep me? Y'all ain't gonna throw me away? That's what you say now. That's what they told Jesus. Till this dude named Barabbas showed up. Crucify him! Tired of this dude healing people. Islam Moors. The cover of the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah. Islam Moors. Chapter 10, Jesus spake on the unity of Allah and man to the Hindus. Islam Moors. Now notice the key word in this is unity. You hear that, right? Instruction 1, Benares is the sacred city of the Brahma, and in Benares Jesus taught. Udraka was his host. Udraka made a feast in honor of his guests, and many high-born Hindu priests and scribes were there. What does the term high-born mean in Hinduism? Anybody know?
Of noble stature. It
Noble.
also has to do with the caste system.
Islam, that's the key, caste system, right? So, at the top you had, the Brahmins, right? At the very bottom you had the Sudras, S-U-D-R-A, right? The Sudras is where the European learned Negro, black, and colored from. That started in India. It was before the Europeans came to power. They went there, that system was already in place. Other names for the Sudras are the untouchables, they call them. And down in the islands, specifically like Trinidad, Coolie.
Yeah.
It's not a word you want to mess around and call nobody,
Right.
especially from Trinidad. Don't call nobody no Coolie.
Right.
Might get knocked in the head. Islam? All right, and there's a significant amount of people from India in Trinidad, by the way, right? Moving forward. And Jesus said to them with much delight, I speak to you concerning life, the brotherhood of life. The universal Allah is one. Now let's stop here, Morris, because when we hear the name Allah, only thing we know is that what the Arabs say, right? And the Arab breaks his idea of Allah down into what they call madhabs, right? Which is M-A-D apostrophe H-A-B, madhab. And the word madhab means school of thought. There are many different ones, but there are four main ones, right? Which are the Hanafi, the Hanbali, the Maliki, and the Shafi. Again, the Hanbali, H-A-N-B-A-L-I, the Hanafi, H-A-N-A-F-I, Hanafi, right? The Maliki, M-A-L-I-K-I, that was the school of thought of your ancient forefathers in West Africa on a basic level. And Shafi, S-H-A-F-I, right? The various different aspects of, what that is that, the so-called scholars differ in various things of how the Islamic law should be carried out, right? And, specific to the traditions of what the Prophet Muhammad did, okay? So example, like when it comes to salat, as they say, some say the Prophet Muhammad, when he was in this position called qiyam, which means standing. Some say he held his hands like this over his heart. Others say he held his hand here. Others say he held his hands all the way down here. And the others say he held his hands at his sides, right? So those are the different schools. They differ in that regard. And if you see them all in one mosque, you'll see them side by side, but all doing different positions. But they've all agreed to disagree. But when it comes to us, you have to either fall in line with one of their schools or you're not a Muslim. Or you have to speak Arabic in order to be a Muslim, even though the Quran don't say that. Islam was? The Quran says that, this Quran is revealed in the Arabic language for you to understand. But who was the you? The you was the Prophet Muhammad and the tribe of Quraysh. You're not of that tribe. Prophet Noble Drew Ali tells us that truth is revealed in your native tongue, right? Because in other words, if you're not a native Arabic speaker, even if you start to learn it, all the inflections there are thousands and thousands and thousands of words in the Arabic language, right? You have one word that means 50 different things, right? If you weren't raised in that culture, you're going to miss somewhere. Same goes for Hebrew, same goes for Aramaic, same goes for Islam. So to tell me the Allah, the Father of the universe that we conceive of, the all in all, the omniscient, the omnipotent, all these great attributes that we use, can't get truth to you in the tongue that you speak. So when it comes to that, we got to put him in a box. Any other time, he's the all, right? The all in all. But when it comes to that, we have to learn a foreign tongue. I have to twist my tongue in order to learn truth. Islam was? All right, so let's get into this brotherhood of life Noble Drew Ali was to introduce us to. Instruction 4. The universal Allah is one, comma, yet he is more than one. All things are one. Paradoxical, would you agree? All right, let's read that again. The universal Allah is one, yet he is more than one. All things are one. It drives that point home. Brother Akil, yes.
Islam, you just remind
Islam.
Islam, arise, giving all praise to Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, and the highest of honors to his noble and divine prophet, Drew Ali.
Islam, you recognize?
It just immediately, every time you say that, it reminds me of, I believe, an article that you wrote, Allah, the one, the many.
Islam. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Moving forward. He says, by the sweet breath of Allah, all life is bound in one. So if you touch the fiber of a living thing, you send a thrill from center to the outer bounds of life. Anybody ever been to a lake or a pond and throw a pebble into it and you see the ripples go out? All right, this is what it's talking about. Semblance of. And when you crush beneath your foot the meanest worm, you shake the throne of Allah and cause the sword of life to tremble in its sheath. The bird sings out its song for men, and men vibrate in unison to help it sing. The ant constructs its home, the bee its sheltering comb. The spider weaves her web, and flowers breathe to them a spirit in their sweet perfume that gives them strength to toil. Now men and birds and beasts and creeping things are deities made flesh. How dare you kill anything? Islam wars? See, until we begin to see the divinity in each other, you know, like that, you know, when we say namaste, right? What are we saying when we say that, right? So I am bowing to the divinity that is in you. Islam wars, you know, but see, that's how you can kill another brother. You know, when you don't see the divine in that.
But this doesn't include roaches.
Say again?
This doesn't.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody knows me, seeing me do that. I'll sweep up a millipede and put him out.
A millipede, but not a roach.
Roaches got to get. Assalamu alaikum, Islam, brother. Yeah. There's much more room for you out there, so I'm going to put you out there. We pay rent up in here.
That's love.
Islam, ain't no borders up in here. You get out there. Islam wars? All right? And it says, instruction 10, it is cruelty that makes the world awry. When men have learned that when they harm a living thing, they harm themselves, they surely will not kill, nor cause a thing that Allah has made to suffer pain. Moors, you know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us the sciences from different lands. Y'all know how we greet, especially the Moorish elders. When you see this right here, we say Islam, right? And then some, based on tradition, will do this and they come across the chest, right? But the old Moorish elders, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way back, they just raised it here. This represents a degree. There's 2 degrees, actually. There's this and then there's this, right? If you study something called Jainism, right? Jainism. The symbol for Jainism, like the star and crescent for Islam, and the symbol for Jainism is this, right? It's the open hand that bears no weapon, right? And this represents a degree called Ahimsa, Ahimsa, right? And Ahimsa, part itself, means nonviolence, but not in the sense of Martin Luther King. Respect to him, right? But it's just the whole thing that I don't come to cause any harm, right? So you greet one with that, right? That symbol traveled all the way over the place, and you have it in Morocco, right? From your forefathers, even there to this day, they have something called a khamsa, right? In Arabic, it's the number 5. Wahid, ithnin, thalatha, arba'a, khamsa. So khamsa is, you know, and what they do is they'll take that, and just like in what they call Judaism, right? They'll take the, help me. Put it by the door.
Oh, the
Mezuzah.
yeah.
They put the mezuzah there. It's like it's a metal thing, and behind it they'll put a scroll with a prayer from either Torah, whatever, and they put it by the door. And before they go in, they'll touch it, say the prayer, and go in. Right. So same thing in Morocco. They'll take the khamsa, the open hand, and put it by the door, or they put it around their neck. You see it just hanging. Islam wars, right?
The Jews also that follow the Babylonian Talmud.
Yes.
Wear the hamsa.
Exactly. And with the eye, but they were influenced by the Sephardim who lived in Spain with us.
Yes, Sephardim and Babylonian, as well as maybe the Persians.
Absolutely, because we're really talking about similar lands. Like a lot of times when we, here in America, when we think about these lands, we're thinking like they're super far apart, or we're thinking about the boundaries that the Europeans set up. In ancient times, the difference between one land and another was this. You see what I'm saying? So the customs and the commerce, the trade brought the similarities in what we'll find. So you'll find those same symbols everywhere. So it's no strange happening that Noble Drew Ali here in America brought that to us when he told us that we are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabit, and it gives us that whole history. Islam wars?
With what you just said, when you look at the Hamza Han and you see the 2 thumbs.
Yes, that's just the design. Because because that's basically the pinky and that's all it is. But if you count, it'll be 3 up here and 2 on the outside. The Moorish artists in the ancient times, just like now, she don't post Moorish artists. They were very expressive. They did it different ways, and especially when the proscriptions came down, far as depicting prophets and so on and so forth. They got very creative with everything else. So even like when it comes to the calligraphy of reading Arabic, stuff like that, unless you're trained how to read the calligraphy, you won't be able to read it because it's like reading graffiti.
Right. Okay.
If you don't know the person that did it, you probably won't know his system.
Okay.
Islam.
So there was this was one, and then from what it seemed like, it was like the thumb going out with another. What was the differentiation?
You think I'm gonna give it all to you tonight?
Okay.
If I can get you to thinking, you save yourself, more. Ask Sheik Google. Y'all love Sheik Google. Y'all, yeah, faithful man. He don't pay no dues though. He ain't keeping along with none of the necessities of more science temple of America. But y'all love him. Islam more. Sheik Google. Grand Sheik Google. Islam.
That reminds me of when Elijah Muhammad was alive.
Yes.
You know how in the nation they do the original salute.
Yes.
But he was the only one you see, and he would
Flip it this way.
He would salute this way. From what I was taught, that was him submitting to Allah.
Islam.
You know, so that demonstration reminded me of how the Messenger used to salute.
Praise Allah. And again, you know, it's no strange happening to that. You know, the coincidences. There's no coincidences. You know, we know all these masters knew one another and studied each other's systems. And at the end of the day, like this record is saying in this chapter, you know, there's only one Allah. So if your eyes are open, you'll be able to see the similarities. That's if your heart is not black. You know what I'm saying? I mean, your heart is not darkened by hatred and all that kind of mess. You know, because when that happens, you limit, you know, what you're able to see. You know, if you're demonstrating love and so on and so forth, you'll be able to see the similarities. It's like, why can't we all get along? I see exactly what you're saying. Islam wars? Let's move forward. It says, Instruction 11. A lawyer said, y'all thought lawyers were new, right? A lawyer said, I prayed to Jesus. Tell, who is this Allah you speak about? Where are his priests, his temples, and his shrines? And Jesus said, the Allah I speak about is everywhere. He cannot be compassed with walls, nor hedged about with bounds of any kind. All people worship Allah the one, but all the people see him not alike. So that's the main thing you got to, understand and go on to reach our people. Stop trying to make them Muslim according to your understanding. You remember Elohim created devil at one point. Islam, don't go on making devils and creating hatred in people by trying to mold and fashion them after your example. Islam wars, teach them, learn the universal Allah, and then apply that message in teaching the people. Islam, he says, all people worship Allah, but all the people see him not alike. 14. This universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. That's why we greet like that. Wisdom, will, and love, right? He says, all men see not the triune Allah. One sees him as the Allah of might, another as Allah of thought, another as Allah of love. Islam wars? Yeah. And notice we have the degree of triune, right? Ancient Egypt, they had triad. And the Roman Catholics have Trinity, right? So our degree of 3, and in Ifa, they have El-Egba, who represents the 3. Islam, three is universal. Different cultures call it different things, all right? It says, a man's ideal is his God. And so as man unfolds, his God unfolds. Man's God today, tomorrow is not God. But see, more as we understand that truth changes not. So those ideals ultimately are fleeting and based on falsehood, right? Because if it were based on truth, it wouldn't change.
Because a man's ideals is his God.
Islam, all right? Moving forward. The nations of the earth see Allah from different points of view, and so he does not seem the same to everyone. Man names the part of Allah he sees, and this to him is all of Allah. And every and every nation sees a part of Allah, and every nation has a name for Allah. That's a very important instruction, because in that instruction, you have nation and Allah together. Our Moorish American forefathers taught, you must have a nationality before you have a God. That's harsh, isn't it? Right? On the crescent pins of the Moorish Science Temple of America that our sisters wear, this right here, and ones that some of the sisters, you see at the top it says M.A. Star and crescent, at the bottom it says Allah, right? Because you must have a nationality before you have a God. Because if you don't demonstrate nationality first, you will filter your God concept through somebody else's eyes, right? That's why a lot of our grandmothers, great-grandmother, however you want to look at it, had Caesar Borgia, the Pope's son, the European guy, Brad Pitt with long hair, on the wall calling him Jesus, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi in Attack of the Clones. I saw it yesterday. I was watching it yesterday, all right? Look just like Jesus Christ. Islam, with a Moorish robe on. We ain't gonna do that. But nation, you have nationality and the divine creed in that same instruction. Islam wars, you can't separate them. We can't be holy and so on and so forth, whatever, but not have a nationality. Islam Moors? Because if you take that Negro, black, and color and put that on anything divine, you're going to taint it. You're going to drag it down. You're going to tear it up. The two thoughts can't coexist at the same time. Islam Moors? Right, moving forward. It says, you Brahmins call him Para Brahm. In Egypt, he is Thoth. And Zeus is his Greek name. Jehovah is his Hebrew name. So any Hebrew etymologist, we can do that later if you want to. But everywhere, he is the causeless cause, the rootless root, from which all things have grown. Islam Moors? All right, so we mentioned Para Brahm, Thoth, and Zeus, right? For those who have Holy Qurans and More Science Temple, the actual pamphlet, go to the inside cover of the record right here, right? Where it says, know thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, and it has it in quotation marks, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa in the land of Egypt. Islam, those are the same lands that he's mentioning in instruction 19. Brahman is India, Thoth is Egypt, and Greek or Greece is in Europe. Islam Moors? Para Brahm. Anybody give me a demonstration on Para Brahm? No one? Y'all being humble, right? Islam. Nothing wrong with a little humility. Para Brahm, or Para Brahman, P-A-R-A, anyway, they spell it on sheet Google, is B-R-A-H-M-A-N. They put an N on the end. It says, is the highest Brahman, that which is beyond all descriptions and conceptualizations. It is described in Hindu texts as the formless spirit that eternally pervades everything, everywhere in the universe, and whatever is beyond. Hindus conceptualize the Para Brahman in diverse ways. Islam Moors? Brother Akil, Islam Moor?
Islam. Again, I rise, giving all praise to Allah, highest known to the Prophet.
Islam. Islam.
I'm trying to break that down etymologically because I remember the chairman talked about the Brahms and Brahmins, Brahmins again today, or earlier today. So I'm para.
Go ahead.
Is that I'm Para Brahm? With that, I'm in my mind. I'm trying to equate that to height or like the Brahm, the most elevated of Brahm, or something of that name. Am I in the right?
Well, here's the thing. In tracing that back, you'd have to trace it back to a Sanskrit root, right? Which the European loves to say Indo-European, right?
Yeah.
So we can slide ourselves in there.
Yeah.
Sanskrit existed before the European, so we can get rid of that, right? The power that we're like parapsychologists, para this, para that, paranormal, that's coming through the Latin. That's a different treatment.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But through the Sanskrit, it is demonstrating that which is higher or greater than or whatever, but it's just denoting, that cause or that rootless root the prophet is telling us about. And the Brahmin priests were naming themselves after that in the sense of they considered themselves an elevated caste. You know what I'm saying? And Jesus was constantly getting on them for subjecting the people to something that they didn't know. They couldn't live according to those laws because they weren't permitted to read their laws in Sanskrit. They had a language called Pali, which was a dialect, so what they consider a much lesser dialect of Sanskrit. They weren't allowed access to Sanskrit. You had to have been born in a family, what they call highborn, as the sister demonstrated, in order to even be able to read that.
It'd be like Ebonics.
Roughly, slang.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very harsh slang, but it evolves out of that thing of the Sanskrit scriptures, such as all the Upanishads and the Vedas and all of that. Those were what they call the liturgical scripts. That was the religious, the religious scriptures, right? Which their laws also came out of that. You understand what I'm saying? But how can a person live according to the law if they can't read the language of the law in which it is revealed? That was the brother Siddhartha Gautama's beef with that whole thing. That's why he left Hinduism and went to go find out what was the cause of suffering. You understand what I'm saying? And taught the people in their native tongue. So he took what he learned there, inside the walls of the fortress, all right, as a highborn Hindu, through Sanskrit, and came out the gates, the city gates, and taught the people that wisdom in Pali. Islam Wars? All right, now Pali is P-A-L-I. Moving forward. Instruction 20. When men are afraid of Allah and take him for a foe, they dress other men in fancy garbs and call them priests, and charge them to restrain the wrath of Allah by prayers. And when they fail to win his favor by their prayers, to buy him off with the sacrifice of animals and birds. When man sees Allah as one with him, as Father Allah, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. He goes straight up to him and says, my Father God Allah. And then he places his hand in Allah's own hand, and all is well. All is truly well. And this is Allah. You are, each one, a priest just for yourself. A sacrifice of blood Allah does not want. Just give your life in sacrificial service to the all of life, and Allah is pleased. When Jesus had thus said, he stood aside. The people were amazed, but strove amongst themselves. So they loved what he said, but they broke on that was, you know. So let's move forward. Some said he is inspired by Holy Braham, and others said he is insane. Others said he is obsessed. He speaks as devils speak. All right, but Jesus tarried not. He wasn't no fool now. So he did all that. He knew the priest was going to be after him, so he had to get on somewhere. Right. And among the guests was one, a tiller of the soil, a generous soul, a seeker after truth, who loved the words that Jesus spoke. And Jesus went with him, and in his home abode. Islam Morris? And that tiller of a soil, that's another language for he was a member of the Silent Brotherhood. Right? So he knew, brother, come on, and I'll protect you. That was his way of protecting Jesus from the truth that he taught. Right? And again, remember, Jesus wasn't no fool according to the story, right? I wasn't there 2,000 years ago. So, but in terms of what was handed down, it says that he wasn't a fool. When he had to speak truth against people, he didn't stay there in their face. He taught hit and run style. Teach it, out. I'm out. My time has not come yet, so y'all ain't gonna get me now. I'm out. Islam Morris? All right. So this is the Allah of which we speak. All right. So if you're dealing with some of a different faith, a different tradition, different culture, different whatever, listen to them first and hear the things in there that are similar to the Allah that you know. Those are the things that you take and build upon. Right? Islam Morris, Brother Jalil.
Islam. When I was coming up, being from the Jehovah's Witness paradigm, my mother, she was somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. I grew up watching those type of videos. That's why my mind was always kind of open. And I remember she used to watch videos about Oprah and the so-called elite, and they would talk about how they didn't believe in God being being out there. They believe themselves to be their own gods and believe themselves to be their own divinity. And growing up in that super Christian paradigm, it was the way she broke it down to me, that Satanism, whoop-de-whoop. But when I came
whoop-de-whoop. You're gonna make me say that before the meeting's like before we close the prayer. I know that's gonna come out of me. Whoop-de-whoop. That's a good segue. Whoop-de-whoop. Islam. That's an Atlanta thing. I love it. I love it. I love y'all culture down here. Yeah. Been down here so long, I think I done said finna a couple times this week. Yeah, I'm telling y'all contagious, boy. Y'all done took over hip hop. Pardon self more. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This coming to a deeper knowledge to know that really understanding from their paradigm that looking at things from that perspective, to them is demonic, is Satan. It's satanically inspired, but once you gain a higher perspective, it's not really satanic. It's really you're truly acknowledging who the real God is, which is not a spook, but it's within us, and it's in the heart.
Indeed, Quranically, Allah tells us that to not invent a lie against Allah. In other words, don't say things about Allah that Allah did not say about himself.
That's right.
And that's a huge thing. You know what I'm saying? Because men do that all the time. People put stuff on Allah. Allah ain't got nothing to do with that. Right. I saw a meme, and it was the fictional devil, with the horns and the tail and whatever. And he was on a surfboard, surfing. I got the tides over me, right? He says, "Nah, that wasn't me. I'm on vacation. That's all you." Islam. People that put stuff off on to get it away from self. If man was to seek his savior, he must look where? Within. His name is? Self. Man will seek his devil. We must look where? Within. And his name is? Self. Islam. So and it's up to man to make or mar his own fortune or her own fortune. Islam. All right. Brother Akil, you had a statement?
Islam.
Islam what?
Rise, praise Allah.
Sir.
Highest honest divine prophet. I was just going back in reflection. I there was in school when I was at Morehouse, there was a classmate that was kind of, I don't want to say oppositional, but we would butt heads in debate sort of thing. I reached back out to him through the wonderful world of Facebook, and he had gotten on his enlightened piece in his, he had traveled through his path or whatnot. But when he started, I would say spitting or talking somewhat lofty ideals, if you will, I referenced it all and checked out with this Quran. It was like, okay, I got you. It was easily able, or I was easily able to speak his language in a sense.
Exactly.
I just want to say praise Allah.
Praise Allah for that ability.
Prophet.
That's an ability that has to be honed. You know what I mean? Like diplomacy. Anybody ever study diplomacy?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, to an extent.
Islam. So what are some of what's the skill set that you have to use in diplomacy?
Adaptation.
What else? No doubt. Yeah, you got to have that immutability, right? Right? Because if you fixed an opinion, you're going to mess the whole thing up.
Exactly.
What else? Tact. Huge. Huge. Right? Because again, tell the truth, right? But there's a way to tell the truth. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Like, if you're trying to build something, you ain't just gonna, you know what I mean? You give it in a way that's tactical. Islam?
And even if you're doing it with reproof, you have to make sure reproof.
Kindness with. So in Master and Servant, that's a heavy chapter because it's the alchemical approach to giving truth. Islam was? What else? Diplomacy.
Self-control. No emotions.
No emotion. Stoic. Stoicism.
Stoic is a better term.
It is. It is. It is. You know, real quick, y'all ever studied Stoicism?
Yes.
Okay. You ever studied the founder of Stoicism?
They say it was a Greek philosopher.
Haha, that's what they say.
Of course, it's
Zeno,
ancient.
who was Phoenician Canaanite. That's us. That ain't them.
Right.
And they have statues of him with the woolly hair, big forehead like me up under this turban. So I really love the turban. It covers a whole lot of extra. The multitude, the front yard, right? Cover up the front yard a little bit. The HD TV joint, right? Right, 50-inch, right? But Zeno was Canaanite. He was Asiatic. You see what I'm saying? You know, he shipwrecked on the coast, in Greece, and got to teaching this. You know what I mean? And because of the shipwreck and everything that was going on, he looked at everything that was going on and learned. You know what? Let me get my emotions on, because that was a very tragic situation. Let me convert that in order to convey what happened. And people started following him based on how are you so calm with what just happened? Right. And it went on from there. But stoic, definitely. Patience, right? Because in diplomacy you have to demonstrate patience, right? Because the other side may not be where you are. So if you're trying to convey the point, you got to be patient with their condition, right? That's all it is. That's all you're dealing with is the human condition, right? Moving forward. Holy Quran of Mecca, Surah 2, Ayat 255. Okay, and for those who are not familiar, Holy Quran of Mecca revealed to Prophet Muhammad of Arabia approximately 1400 years ago. The revelation took place over 23 years. Scholars agree and disagree, but it was around 23 years, and he only, he would receive revelations according to how it was handed down from the angel Gabriel, and then he would teach those revelations, but nothing more, right? He would only teach within the realm of that revelation until another revelation came, right? And then after he passed forward, during that time, there was people that was jotting down, the things that he was saying, and then after he passed, they correlated it as what we know as the Quran of Mecca today. There's a much in-depth thing. Perhaps I'll go into that on Sunday school, but the Quran we have today is not the Quran of that day. It's a different Quran. They gathered all that up under a particular column and burnt all the previous ones. And Ali, who was his nephew, was son-in-law and cousin, who lived in the house with him. He had a Quran that read different than the one they were trying to put together. And they was chasing him and trying to kill him and his family and the whole nine. That's another story, right? But in this verse 255, just like we talked about the mezuzah earlier, all throughout the Islamic world, people use this as a talisman, right? They don't like you to know that, because they'll tell you, oh, that's forbidden. So, meanwhile, he got a khamsa on with Ayatul Kursi rolled up, taped to the back. You see what I'm saying? Or if they have a child They do this in the East. They'll take and they'll write it out, pray over it, burn it up, and put it in food and make them eat it. All different types of stuff, for the energy of it. Not saying do it. Don't go home and I'm just letting you know how people take the energies of this verse, right? Ayatul Kursi, the word Kursi in Arabic means throne. Not necessarily like the throne you sit on, but it's talking about the dominion of Allah, right? It says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, Most Merciful, it says, Allah, there is no God but He, the living, the self-subsisting, supporter of all. No slumber can seize Him, nor sleep. His are all things in the heavens and on the earth. Who is thee that can intercede in His presence except as He permitteth? Now let me stop here. This is the birth of what you know as sovereignty, right? Because again, the rulers of the earth were considered from an Islamic standpoint to be Allah's successor on the earth. The word was Khalifa, right? As Allah's successor on the earth. So they kind of, carried it like, okay, well, I'm that, so let me extend that, and and people honored them as such, right? So they didn't come in His presence without permission, and you didn't do certain stuff around the Khalif, so on and so forth, right? It says, He knoweth what appeareth to His creatures as before or after or behind them. Nor shall they compass aught, A-U-G-H-T, aught of His knowledge, except as He willeth, right? The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed, same thing. It says, His throne doth extend over the heavens and the earth, and He feeleth no fatigue in guarding them and preserving them, for He is the Most High, the Supreme in glory. Islam was? Now, that is one of the most repeated verses in the Islamic world, right? And you have all this beef in the Islamic world about who's right and who this and what to do and what custom, whatever. If you go to the very next verse, 256, let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. And whoever rejects falsehood or illusion and believes in Allah hath grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. The most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. And Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Islam was? So we are not to compel anyone to believe anything that we believe. We're not compelled to compel anyone to adopt any of our customs that we practice. Islam, that's not in a Muslim's thing. If we see Muslims doing that, that ain't this. That's somebody inventing a lie against Allah. Islam wars? So patience, tact. You know what I'm saying? All the things, stoicism, all the things that you mentioned earlier, this is what we utilize in, raising people up to a higher understanding. Islam wars? All right. Any questions at this point?
Just a couple comments.
Please. No, defer to the sister. Come on, show some chivalry. Islam, all right?
Going back to Ayatul Kursi.
Yes.
We used to put it above the door.
Absolutely.
We would read it before we left.
That's right.
And so now when I get in the car, I actually do our prayer.
Yeah.
But, that just took me back to that. And then when we were looking at 24, and this is Allah, you are, each one of you, a priest.
Unto yourself.
Just for yourself. And the blood of that Allah doesn't want. And so it took me back to the Evos.
And see.
So that's, Yamavi.
Explain that.
Oh, sorry.
Ebo.
Okay. So Ebos, in the Yoruba tradition, whenever you committed a sin or some egregious acts, and it was really, really deep because, like a lot of brothers that would pay for an abortion, their money all of a sudden, because that's just like blood money. And so when you pay for an abortion, then your money gets stopped. Because it's the same curse as, if you put a hit out on somebody. And so we don't have the right to stop what Allah has purposed.
That's Islam.
And so if Allah has purposed that child and then you have decided to use your money that Allah has given to you to kill that child, then all of a sudden there's a stop. So you may have an ebo made, so you have animals that are sacrificed. And that animal is supposed to take the responsibility for what you did. And so they charge you whatever amount of money for that. Well, this is the thing. That karma, that animal can't take that karma. And so people are willing to pay thousands and thousands of dollars so that they can feel right within themselves because they've done that. But see, until you rectify that blood, you can't do that because that child's soul is still living inside of the mother as well as inside of you as the man. And most people don't realize that whenever a woman has an abortion, you can only get rid of the flesh and the blood of the child. The soul and the spirit of the child is still in the
eternal.
mother.
And the body is still continuing the cycles, even after the abortion. That it thinks that it's pregnant.
Exactly.
Still.
Wow. Hence the psychological trauma.
Right.
Yeah,
All day.
and the
Because you're going through the cycle, but it's not there. And you don't feel that life.
Right.
But you're going through the cycle.
So that's why women
Allah forbid.
such a depression, and men do, because you notice a lot of men gain weight
Facts.
while a woman is pregnant.
You working?
Well, the same thing ends up happening after that abortion. So she's going through it the whole 9 months, and he is as well. You know, so when you look at this right here, when we get these ebos done and we're killing animal after animal after animal. So my godfather actually stopped doing blood sacrifices because he said, I began to become bloodthirsty.
Absolutely.
And he's a Muslim.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, I couldn't reconcile it with the Quran. I couldn't reconcile it. I'm still a Babalawo and all of that, but the blood, because people would not be accountable and responsible for their irresponsibility. They would just turn around and pay for ebo.
Islam, for anything.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I smacked my wife, boom, let me do an ebo.
Oh, yeah.
And so then you continue to do it because you can keep affording it, but it doesn't make you and bring you into the accountability of that act. And so that's where it's so deep right here. So this is what I love about Moorish science, and I have walked every last path there.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with
know
you.
what I'm saying? But nothing has held me as accountable
That's the prophet.
as the prophet. You know,
He don't let you
if
go.
I can just walk these right here. I'm good.
Them 48 rooms.
Just pamphlet.
48
What?
rooms.
I used to carry that thing around.
Right, me too.
Pamphlet.
Right, you see how I was beat up?
Can we do the right? Can we do the pamphlet?
Islam.
You know,
Sister
just like-
Katia. First of all, sister, welcome, sister.
Thank you so much.
Islam, it's good to see your face.
for having me.
Yes,
I love this place.
thank you.
I wanted to. The sister opened the door to the conversation, and I pray that it circles us back into unity, as you're talking
Absolutely.
about, as the main topic. So now we're speaking of atonement here.
That's right. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Nothing can atone for the death of that child, or the death of any children, or the death of any human being, or the death of any period. In this case, which is why I guess it seems so fitting for the Messianic Hebrew like myself, Christian follower of Yeshua, to say there is one.
Islam.
Mama.
We hear you, Mobadis. Islam.
I saw her big smile.
Looking at the Quran, too. Yeah.
So this is why myself and so many others like me gravitate to the idea of atonement, because not for me personally, I can speak personally. It's not because I don't want to be accountable. There's so many things that if I knew how to do better, I would have done it. I would have chosen to do better. But in my foolishness, I've done them. And I need something. This is where the clinician comes in. Okay?
That's right.
He addressed trauma on his Facebook page.
Islam.
I need something to take away the torture of condemnation, because it's destroying me.
Praise Allah.
Shame is destroying me.
Wow.
Shame is destroying me on a daily. Condemnation. This voice that's saying you are not enough. You are not smart enough. You are not. You cannot attain elevation or ascension because because you've done this and you've done that. All the things that is associated with the flesh, or what some faiths call the lower self, or what some faiths may call the devil in you. It is by nature my need, and I'm not saying it's not true, because I'm not trying to desecrate or discredit my faith.
Islam.
But I will acknowledge my human need to hold on to something to say, you have been cleansed, you have been washed, you are now forgiven, don't do it again. So for me, that's the atonement plus my accountability, lest my grace runs out before the Most High God. I think that's my way of
sorry.
coping with that.
Indeed.
With trauma and mistakes
Right.
that I've committed.
Right. May I share something with you from our Holy Quran?
Yes, sir.
Chapter 4 of the Holy Quran, the Most Science Temple of America, we'll start at instruction 10.
Because it doesn't look like that. I'm like,
Firstly, just in honor of the sisters, let me go to instruction 4. Prophet instruction says, no language can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true, but she was not called hence until her tasks were done. Let's go down to instruction 10. It says, chapter 4, verse 10. 4:10. It says, your mission here is that of a harbinger or a forerunner, for you will go before the Messiah's face to pave his way and make the people ready to receive their king. This readiness is purity of heart, but none but the pure in heart can recognize the king. Right? To teach men to be pure in heart, you must yourself be pure in heart and word and deed. In infancy, the vow for you was made, and you became a Nazirite. The razor shall not touch your face, nor your head, and you shall not taste wine or fiery drinks. Men need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. The man who stands upon the corners of the paths and points the way, but does not go, is just a pointer, and a block of wood can do the same. The teacher treads the way. On every span of ground, he leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, their master, went that way. Men comprehend the inner life. Now here we go, sister. Men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to Allah through ceremonies and forms. Right? This is this atonement that you're talking about, right? It says, now let's find out how we get there. And so when they would make men know that sins are washed away by purity and life, a rite symbolic may be introduced. So when you teach a person to the point where they understand that the shift in like we would define sin as clinging to principles that delude to slavery, right? Now we think slavery plantation so long ago, right? But you can hold yourself in bondage, right? You can be your own slaveholder. Right? So clinging to principles that keep you in that state is sinful, right? So let's move forward. So it says, let me read that instruction again. And so when they will make men know that sins are washed away by purity and life, a rite symbolic, what we call a symbolic rite, may be introduced. In water, and this is a particular rite, this is not just across the board, it's just an example. In water, wash the bodies of people who will turn away from sin and strive for purity and life. Real quick, when you make the salat, you make a wudu, right? The ablution. Purify yourself with water. Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, keep your heart and mind pure with love and your bodies clean with water. Islam. He says, this rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who are thus cleansed comprise the temple of purity. And you shall say, you men of Israel, yeah, we love Israel too. Islam. You men of Israel, reform and wash, become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. This rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul, which does not come with outward show, but is the temple within. Now you may never point the way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done, but you must go before and show the way. You are to teach men that men must wash, so you must lead the way. Your body must be washed, symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. John said, why need I wait? May I not go at once and wash? And that right there, for me, when I first read that, was powerful. Because many people, when they come upon something truthful, hesitate. Or wait to employ the correction, right? But why must I wait? I think that's powerful. So you correct me, thank you, let me put that in place right now, right? But that deals with being uncomfortable, and we don't like being uncomfortable. But we know, and the clinician can tell you, he got his paperwork. He sent me the paper. I got a certification in my phone. I can send it to y'all. I'm proud of my brother. Yeah, no doubt. We got a certified clinician.
No, that's
Go ahead, Temple 19, right? But you have to get all of that in order. And that's the thing. You have to be willing, to forgive yourself, right? And it's easier said than done, right? However, like in our forefathers' tongues, several of the tongues they use, like in Sanskrit, they have the word Maya, right? M-A-Y-A, which means illusion, right? In Arabic, you have a word taghut, and taghut is similar to illusion, but it's more so falsehood, right? So if something's telling you that, like I said, you're not good enough, you're not this, you can never attain whatever, clearly that's falsehood, right? Right? Because the Most High never gave you a spirit of fear, right? You have, your heart comprises the tablets of the law, right? So all the divine laws that were ever revealed to our people are in you. So we were given the books, right? Because that's a testament of a further fall, because now we got to go to external to read, to remind us of the internal. But it's already within us, right? A lot of that is environment, what we're around, because some people have a resilience that they can be in a negative environment, and they can put up with it, whatever, and go home and they do their particular ritual and be fine. Other people, sentient beings, empaths, and so on and so forth, can't be around that stuff.
Absolutely. I know I'm an empath.
Can't be around that stuff, because what you'll happen, it's in the nature of human beings, where human beings are naturally assimilatory beings. So it's in the nature of us, you see this in children all the time, it's in the nature of us to become what we're around. You know what I'm saying? So like, I used to have a cussing thing. What? Man, look, I wasn't always the grand governor, right? So I had a cussing thing. I had a cussing spirit on me. So every other word was some foul, profane, right?
Outside the temple.
Right, definitely outside the temple. You working, boy? I hear you. Definitely, prophet, boy. This man right here. So, but again, and not making an excuse, but I came from an environment. As much as I love my mother is the holy roller. Make her mad if you want to. Adept at that colorful language. You know what I'm saying? Step out the house, same thing, whatever. So, it wasn't until I actually heard myself, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm better than this. That sounds crazy. Right? And so, okay, now I need to change, because I can't be the person I want to be if I'm living this way. You understand what I'm saying? The Prophet Noble Drew Ali instructs us, says, when you don't discover yourself, others will discover you most plainly.
And they'll expose you in the most disgraceful way.
Oh,
that you find out for yourself within yourself than others.
Absolutely.
You in the most disrespectful way.
One of my masters taught me, said, tell yourself what to do so others won't have to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because once you learn to be disciplined like that, you'll catch it before somebody else has a chance to say anything. And then you put the change in, and they go, oh, it's nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Now, not saying they ain't gonna invent lies against you. They're gonna do that anyway. They're gonna do that if you did everything they said do, right? But at the same time, you have to find, if you have the Messianic tradition, you have to stand, if that's your foundation, you gotta stand on that. You know what I'm saying? And you have to ask, well, what Mashiach do? You know what I'm saying? And if Mashiach wouldn't do it, Messiah wouldn't do these things or handle it this way, why am I? You know what I'm saying? And we honor all the true and divine prophets, and we look at each one of them and what each one of them had a message, something for humanity, but all of their messages turned about the pivot of love. You know what I'm saying? So to the point where love isn't present, we know that's not that messenger, because messages can only speak the message given to them by Most High. You know what I'm saying? So, I hope that addresses it somewhat, because it's the purity in ourselves. That's the main thing. We have to labor towards that. And it helps if you're around similar lights. Because that thing out there is, they talk about a hell. And they talk about flames and all this kind of, Allah never made a heaven or hell for man. We are creators and made our own, So these environments that we see are hells that we had a hand in creating. So it's up to us to, to do what we have to do to change it within ourselves. This is what these environments are for, right? For people to learn different things and find out who the Most High is really to us, right? Because if murder is wrong to you, and lying is wrong to you, and rape is wrong to you all, and all these different things, I think everybody in this room, civilized people, can agree that those. Exactly. So if those things comprise falsehood, and we all agree to that, then we have unity. And anything to the contrary notwithstanding. You understand what I'm saying?
I like how you strategically circle it back to the unity aspect.
Islam. Praise Allah for the Prophet and these lessons. Islam. But I just wanted to draw from that. I just want to go over a couple keys. I know we're keeping you here a little longer than usual. Couple things, and then I'll open the floor for questions. If nothing, I will lower the meeting. Islam, who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where's the nearest place we can meet him?
In the heart.
Islam. Let me cut over. Haha, so everybody knows the first one. See if y'all really studying. See if them Sunday schools paying off. What is the higher self?
The higher self is the love of all virtues and the harmonies of life, the breed, justice, mercy, love, and right.
I know we have more than 2 people in Sunday school. But let's do this. Sister Kathir, this will help that statement, the question that you asked. Let's go back to key 65. And I'm just drawing from this particular record here. It says, give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. That's because after the fall, right, when man fell into his carnal nature, right, then you get those things, and those things are indeed stratified. Lucifer, light bringer, but there's a lower level of light, right? And then beast, clearly the lowest version of that, right? 4-legged animal. Says key 65, what is the devil sometimes called? The lower self. How many selves are there? 2. Name them. Here we go, Sunday school. What people represent the higher self? Islam. Key 69. What people represent the lower self? You're right, but the answer says those. Oh, you're definitely right. You're definitely right. But the record says those. I can't even correct that. But the record says those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teachings. Right? And that's another thing too. It's not just the fact that, clearly people that are clearly wrong. Right? So that's clear. But not even just that, but those that accept their teachings. So it was even like, if you're around a thing and it's wrong and you don't condemn it, so that's acquiescence. So by virtue of the fact, like if I'm in a car, if I get in a car with a cat I know stole the car, when the car gets pulled over, I'm getting charged with it too. So the Most High will charge you just for being around it because you knew better. What you doing over there? Holy, you supposed to be what? Holy means what? Set apart. I'm supposed to be able to clearly identify because y'all over here. What you doing over there? Islam Moors? Right? So those that were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teachings. Key 70, what is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. 71, can the higher self pass away?
No.
Key 72, why? Because it is Allah in man. So we can look for the Most High in things outside of ourselves all day, and we can see it there. But the nearest place to meet that is in your own self. And if you don't feel that, then there's something wrong, something clouding that, and we have to remove all of that so we can feel the presence of the divine. Right? It says, what does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. Let me stop there. Let me just hit that murders real quick. I'll phrase it this way rhetorically. Don't answer this. Reflect on anybody that you know who has murdered someone. Don't answer that, right? Do they have any peace in their lives?
No.
None to be found. I knew a brother one time, very, very, very close friend of mine, Islam. His life was such where he was in a position that took several people's lives. And from time to time, we'd be talking and he'd zone out. I call it the 1,000-yard stare. And I'd be calling him and he wouldn't hear. And then when he'd come out of it, he'd look at me and this is a grown man, cry, almost curl up crying, because he still sees the eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like he still sees the people whose forms he took, which goes to show in terms of unity, right? We're all connected. And it's not permitted for you to take you didn't create that life. You didn't give that spark which created that life. So if you didn't give it, you should not take it away. Like it says, it is cruelty that makes the world go awry. Islam Moors? All right? And I'll stop there as far as the one-on-ones. And I just want to read something really quick from the Prophet, then I can open the floor for questions. Prophet makes a plea to the nation. This is from Moorish literature. It says, our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the Prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by their national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of the free national republic of the United States of America. That is why I'm calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work that I am doing to help this national government. For without a free national name with a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam Morris? How many people have ever read the Declaration of Independence? Okay. Most people, when they think of law and government, don't think of God or the great God or the Most High, none of that. They think, okay, in America, it's just a secular thing. One paragraph, and then I'll open for questions. Declaration of Independence in Congress, July 4, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. Now keep in mind, Morris, this is 1776. Europeans did not have this language then. This is your influence on this document. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. The laws of nature and nature's God. Islam Morris? It's up to you as a nation of people to define who God is to you and your nation. It's not up to a foreign group of people to do that for you. Islam Morris? If you think it's not important, what are people going to be doing on a holiday called Thanksgiving?
Celebrating.
How many turkeys are going to be sold? How many cans of cranberry sauce and stuffing? They call it dressing down here, right? Dressing? Yes, sir. Islam. Yes, sir. See, that's my jersey coming. It's dressing. See, I know. So I've been 23 years, right? But point is that holiday is driven. What was the origin of that? Some people that call themselves pilgrims or Puritans, right, who were Christians, slaughtering our forefathers. Exactly. Islam. Not to mention December 25th. Yes. Right? How many millions and billions are we going to spend on a belief that don't have nothing to do with the man who they say it's based on? Islam? Are there any questions, comments, concerns, or statements? If they're not, I will lower the meeting. Islam? Islam. Islam? Islam. 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 Morris Science Temple of America. Noble Drew Ali founder, home office, Chicago, Illinois. March 11th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There's been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam? Islam. Islam? Islam. Islam. Praise Allah, Moses. I see the tired in your eyes. See, you toiled all week, you made it the holy day, and listened to some long-winded sheiks. Praise Allah, you made it through the process. All right? I want to give honors to all who are here tonight. You know, like I always say, you could have been doing anything else on a Friday night, but you decided to come here and reason together with, with your people. Again, you are all welcome to Sunday school. Sunday school, we plan on finishing some chapters this week. Y'all know how you get with the 101s. Y'all don't like to make it through chapter. We're going to get through. And also, too, in closing, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's birthday. In the tradition of your forefathers, Moors, high holy days meant something. Islam, Moors? You know, when it comes to the Allah sending you someone to pull you out of the mess that you were in, that must be honored. Absolutely. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you don't honor it, who will? If you don't honor your great ones and uplift their names and keep their names alive, you can't expect the foreign nations to do it, though they know who these great ones were. Absolutely. Right? It's not their job to do it because they were sent to you. Like the prophet says, the Negro problem is your problem, right? And it's being solved only as it can through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement. Islam, Morris? So let's do all we can to make the Prophet's birthday a grand success. Any of those who want to, contribute further financially to assist us in taking care of the last, incidentals that we need to get us there, by all means, let us know, and we greatly appreciate that. All right, because it's going to take all of us to pull it off, or anything that we do that matter. It takes the collective unity to make it happen. Islam, Morris? Everyone, please rise and face the east. Y'all sound kind of. There's some bones creaking, and y'all all right? Woo! That was. I had to bear witness to that. Y'all got up though. Praise Allah. Go ahead and stretch before we do this now. It's love. I don't want Arthur kicking in. It's love. Raise 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Invoking the sacred presence of 7 Elohim that created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. For our visitors, please adopt a position of prayer that is comfortable for you and giving homage to our collective Creator. Please repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam was. Praise Allah.
حي على الصلاة الله أكبر